live. Welcome to another episode of the MMA Degenerates. I am the MMA Degenerate. Before we begin, please do me a big favor and uppercut that like button, smash that subscribe button, head kick that bell icon so you know when we drop our hits. It's usually on Monday, but you never know, so hit that bell icon, please. All right, thank you so much for watching. I hope we're all being safe out there, so let's begin. We had two fight cards today. This weekend, we had UFC Fight Night, Costa versus Vettori, and Bellator 269, The Last Emperor's Last Ride. All right, so let's start off with the UFC. All right, so we'll start from the top, and then we'll go down from there. All right, we had Marvin Vettori versus Paulo Costa. So first of all, I had it 3-2 for Vettori. He had the first, third, and fourth round, and I felt Costa won the second and the fifth round. Of course, Costa had the 1 point taken away for the illegal finger pokes, and he protested really badly, which you never do with the ref. That just makes them want to be even worse to you. So when a ref says you got the point off, usually the fighters just take it. But Costa, he's a bit of how can you say it? I wouldn't say privileged, but he feels like he's better than everyone. I feel that's how he acts. So he usually, you have fighters that never protest these sort of things, but he protested a lot. And luckily David Herzog was the referee, so it was a very experienced referee. So that means that he took care of the situation quickly and got them back to fighting quick, which is good. The fight was really good. Vettori used his striking. He walked, Costa down, and Costa hit him with some good shots. Like some shots I thought, would knock anyone out, but not Vettori. He's got a strong head. Hopefully he doesn't have too many fights like that where he gets hit with hard shots. But to be honest, he only got hit with some hard shots, but those some hard shots, were like a handful of hard shots, were enough to knock anyone out. He rolled with the punches a lot. I have to say, he used excellent head movement. That is something he's been working on his boxing a lot, and you can really tell. So he did a really good job with that. And Paulo Costa did a decent job. I didn't expect him to be able to have that power throughout 5 rounds, but he did, man. He won the second round for sure, had the illegal, eye pokes, unfortunately, but, it happens. And the 5th round, he had that second win, man. If he would have just eked out one more round, he could have won it. But it doesn't matter anyway because, Dana White said he's going to 205. When you miss weight as much as he has, it's bound to happen. And they'll offer him fights at 205, and that's it, and he'll just say no. And he'll run out his contract, and they'll probably cut him, but they're going to keep him on the shelf for a while. He said in the post-fight interview, he's like, no, 185 is my home, and I think he even tweeted it. But when Dana White says at a press conference they're not fighting at 185 again, they're definitely not. I mean, you would have to do like a test cut, and you would have to show Dana White and the UFC brass that you can actually make the weight. But, he's a big guy, man. He was saying Vettori was walking around at 225, 220. And, no, not Vettori. Costa was walking around at 220. And Vettori was walking around at around 210. Maybe 20. I think it's a 208, actually. But I round up. So, he is slightly underweight for the division. The most I can think he can do is to lose some of that muscle mass. Lose a couple pounds of muscle. And the difference between cutting from 220 to 185 and 210 or 215 to 185 is a huge difference. They should have a 195-pound division in between. Costa, I think he'd be the king of that division. He's the perfect size. There's a lot of guys who are too big for middleweight but too small for light heavyweight. They walk around like Luke Rockhold. They walk around that 220, 218, 215 area. Cutting 30 pounds weight, that's terrible. You should only cut 20 pounds weight at the most, but that's another whole different subject that we're going to get into. But The weight issues were weird. They went from 185 to 195 to 205. But let's not, rain on Marvin Vettori's parade. He did an excellent job. What I will say is that he needs to kick more. He is working with the best Muay Thai guy on the West Coast. He's working, with Rafael Cordero, one of the best. And he showed he has good elbows. He caught him with some good elbows. He's got good punches, good clinch work. He was, beating up Paulo Costa on the clinch, on the fence. So the only thing he needs to round out is those kicks. And I guarantee you in about 6 months, he's going to be very good at kicking. So that was a great fight. And I think, Marvin Vettori should definitely fight the winner of the Jared Cannonier fight versus Derek Brunson. He should be a replacement. If I was Vettori, I would be waiting, in the wings to, I'd be waiting. I'd be close to weight. I'd be walking around, 200 pounds, 195-ish. Just so if they're like, hey, buddy, can you make weight in a week? And I'd be like, hell yeah, bitch. So, yeah, if I was him, I would just be ready. Don't pig out. He doesn't seem like a guy that goes and pigs out and gains a bunch of weight in between fight camps. Excuse me. Okay, so yeah. And then the next two fights were kind of boring, but Grant Dawson versus Ricky Glenn, that was kind of boring. Grant Dawson landed some good shots on Ricky Glenn, but Ricky Glenn just kept on taking him down and taking him down and taking him down and taking him down. Like, there wasn't, anything Grant Dawson could do about it. He caught him with like a good head kick. He caught him with good punches in one of the rounds. And one of the judges thought that it was a 10-8 round because he did rock him, I think, twice, or he rocked him really hard once. But, the wrestling just nullified it. For me, I mostly watched it. I saw why one judge would give to Ricky Glenn, and I saw how they could make it a majority decision because in one of the rounds there wasn't much going on. Like Grant landed some good shots and Ricky took him down a few times, and it was kind of like standstillish. So that was a hard one to judge. I wouldn't want to judge it. I didn't judge it, but it was pretty boring. I was kind of like going in and out. But I saw most of the fight. All right, the next one, Jessica Rose Clark defeated Jocelyn Edwards by unanimous decision. Yep, a very good fight. I had a 30-27 just because Jocelyn got in for Rose Clark. Jocelyn got in some good strikes, don't get me wrong. But, every round she was taken down several times, and every round she had nowhere to go, nothing to do with it at all. So yeah, it was a good fight. It wasn't a good fight. Sorry, it was a boring fight, but it was a good display of wrestling. And Jessica Rose Clark just coming off like 2 years off. Her timing was definitely off. But Jocelyn just had no answer for the wrestling. And I follow her. I kind of simp on her a little bit. But I follow her on Instagram, and she has been traveling to all these different places. She's been doing wrestling with DC and in Southern California. She's been putting in the work. And she said, she needed this win just to get her confidence back up. I think she even quoted DC saying, the win might be boring now, but it kind of like lays the foundation for wins in the future. And that's pretty much what it did. So they'll give her the confidence. Next time, I'm sure she'll come out. She'll blast the next chick with a head kick or an elbow or some punches or something like that because she's more known for her clinching and striking than she is for her wrestling. But it shows a new wrinkle. So people are going to be like, oh, crap. Now I have to worry about her taking me down. So, yeah. We had, Bruce Leroy versus Sung Woo Choi. This was a great fight. Sung Woo Choi was doing so super well the first round. And then the next half of the second round, it was a back and forth. It wasn't completely one-sided, but he was winning. And then he hit him with a freaking illegal knee. Totally stopped the momentum in the fight and everything. Bruce Lee he came out like a bat out of hell, took him down, choked him out, and that was it. Good job for Bruce Leroy. I'm so glad he won. I'm a huge fan ever since The Ultimate Fighter. I love his style. I love his mentality. I love everything about him. He has, Now it's 19-12, but he has almost a 50-50 record. But he has won several in a row, so he definitely should fight some top 15 competition for sure. Yeah, definitely for sure. So we had Francisco Trinaldo versus Dwight Grant. This one was another kind of boring fight, but it was a close fight. It was a back and forth fight. Dwight Grant did a good job, but Francisco Trinaldo landed the harder shots. I felt that he lost, but it was so close and I didn't pay attention to it 100%. So I can see why. Yeah, the Nikolai Negumereanu fight versus Ike Villanueva, that was a good fight. Yeah. Oh, that was a barn burner, baby. Yeah, Nikolai had his number, and he just beat him down, caught him with some good punches, and that was the end of the night. That's all I can say about that. And the prelims were pretty good. I'm just going to go over a few of the highlights. Gregory Rodriguez versus Jung Young Park. That was a great fight. Back and forth, beating each other up, and Gregory caught, Jung Young super hard on the button, lights out. It was a very good fight. Jay Herbert versus Kama Worthy. That was a great fight. He caught Kama with a head kick, kind of got through the guard a little bit, and then he just pounced on him. Kama looked like he was kind of like a little phased from it, and then he just unleashed a flurry of shots. Like, it was like, dang, bro, that's heavy. And Molina caught Jeff Molina defeated Daniel Lacerda by elbows and punches. Jeff Molina caught this dude with a straight punch coming in. He threw a lazy leg kick, and he just kind of like caught him with the right hand. He fell down. Didn't knock him out, but the guy was hurt. He got on top of him and just rained down an unholy amount of punches and elbows before, the ref pulled him off. Overall, decent fight card. Definitely Gregory Rodriguez and Jung Young Park deserved, fight of the night for sure. Vittori did great. Caceres did great. So yeah, great fight overall. I think they need to give a few more of these. I think they should have like 2. They should have 5. They should have 6 different awards in my opinion. They should have 2 prelim fighters getting performance of the night if they're good, 2 in the main card, and then 1 fight of the night for whichever area. If there aren't any good fights in the prelims, then you just don't give it that day. That's it. But hey, that's my 2 cents. All right, but it was a decent card. I would say 3 out of 5. It had, some good fights. It had a good submission with Bruce Leroy. It had a good main event, a barn burner of a fight. Won't win fight of the year, but it's certainly a good fight that you look back and say, that was worth me watching it for 30 minutes, so that's good. And some good knockouts, some good head kicks, some good punches, everything like that. All right, let's go to Bellator. So Bellator 269 was on Saturday. It was during the day because it was playing at local time in Russia. The Russians definitely came out. It was like kind of like a Russia versus everyone else sort of thing. Sometimes it was Russian versus Russian. And mostly the Russians did very well if they fought foreigners. Very, very well. Except for Aiden Lee. And I'm sure a few of these aren't Russian. They could be like from Eastern Europe or the Eastern like bloc area. But Syed Sauma, won as well. So those were some good ones. The prelims were really good. A lot of submissions, a lot of knockouts, some good rising stars for sure. No one that should fight top 10 competition just yet, but some good fighters. All right, so let's start from the bottom and go up top. So we had Anatoly Tokov defeated Sharaf Davla-Murdov. That was a good fight, pretty back and forth. The only problem I had with it was 2 sparring partners. And when you have 2 sparring partners, people that, recently trained with each other, the fight isn't usually that good. And it was pretty good. Let's just say in terms of fights I've seen where training partners fight each other, it was good. If they weren't, it would have been an okay fight. It was only an okay fight, but Anatoly showed that he has the skills to make it in the top 10. He wants top 10 people, but I think he should get another fight before he hits that top 10 for sure. All right, the next one we have is Usman Nurmagomedov, which is what's his name? Khabib's cousin, defeated Patrick Piatila, first round submission. Yeah, I mean, it was very surprising. Usman just started going for takedowns like right off the bat. And that usually doesn't happen. He is more of a striker for sure, but obviously he trains with Khabib. Khabib's the head coach. Maybe Khabib said, look, Patrick, he sucks on the ground. Let's just take him down, choke him out, call it a day. And that happened. So, yeah, it was a good fight. I mean, short fight. We didn't see much. It was about 4 minutes into the first round. He hit him with some good shots, took him down twice. First time Patrick got back up. Then he took him down again and again, and, he was able to grab that submission. So Usman said he wants to fight some top 10 guys, which I think he should. Let's look at the rankings for the top 10. So it was a 160 catch weight. His frame looks more like a welterweight, but let's look at both lightweights. So anyone, over here. Oh, Usman is, he's number 7. Then what do you say? Oh, okay. He's already ranked. Okay, so, I mean, a good fight will be Goiti Yamauchi. That would be a great fight. He just won. And Goiti's number 5, so he would definitely get a bump up. And that would be a fun fight because he wouldn't be able to take Goiti down because Goiti's so good on the ground. And Goiti's got amazing stand-up too. So, I mean, it would be a hard fight for him, I think. Usman would have the range on Goiti, but I think he would win. Okay, Syed Salma fought Vitaly Minakov. This was a great fight. The first round, Vitaly Minakov was doing great. He'd been gone, I think, for a year or two, but his timing was excellent. What I was really happy about is he didn't rush in. When you haven't fought in a while, you kind of just rush in and you want to get it over with, and you want to get out of there. You want to take him out in the first round. But Vitaly picked his shots. He used great feints. I mean, some of the best feints I've seen in the whole fight card in this whole weekend, to be honest. So those were good. And, but towards the end of the second round, Saeed was starting to come back. He was starting to hit him with good shots. He was starting to wear on Vitaly. And Vitaly would have made it the whole fight, because there was like 2 minutes left or 3 minutes left of that round. So he would have made it, but halfway through the round, his thumb dislocated. Vitaly's thumb dislocated, or his finger dislocated, and he was trying to, pop it back. And kudos to the ref. The ref gave him a bunch of opportunities. And then finally, after like 10, 20, 30 seconds of him trying to pop it back in place, and even Saeed was kind of waiting for him a little bit, and he couldn't, so the ref just called it off. He's like, yeah, no, you're done. And then it's funny, he popped it back in, and he thought, okay, yeah, let's go, I'm ready. But once they call it off, it's off, So yeah, that was a good fight. I was hoping Vitaly would have fought to the end, Vitaly's a good fighter, and he was off for a while, but he'll come back stronger. I don't know if he's still ranked because he was gone for so long. No, he's not ranked, so that's fine. But Syed Salma, he's ranked, and he should, like, I'm a big fan. Fight people that are above you or below you. Again, above or below. One above, one below. So maybe Gohan Sarikama, I don't know who that is, and Davian Franklin. I've seen him fight. Young fighter, good fighter, tough test. So maybe that'd be a good fight if he's not fighting anyone. And the last one, Fedor Emelianenko. And sorry if you hear honking. I have some very disrespectful neighbors. But sorry if you hear any honking. So we had Fedor Emelianenko versus Timothy Johnson. This was a great fight, very short, only a minute and 45 seconds. But what I saw in this fight is Fedor still has that hand speed. He still has it. He's 45 years old and he still has it. And to me, that's from being a religious man. You know, as a religious man, you don't really drink. You don't really do drugs normally. You don't really drink or do drugs. You don't chase women. You know, you live a life, not even celibate, but a lifestyle to God. So that, I think, gives him the restraint to not go out and get wasted, to not go to a bar to chase women, to not do drugs, you know. So I think, you know, I would love to see him fight again. I really would. I mean, I know he said this might be the last one, but I would love for him to fight, you know, maybe the winner after Bader does his thing. Because Fedor, whenever he fights, he doesn't fight for a while afterwards. So after Bader goes, well, Bader actually just lost the light heavyweight thing. So he's going to fight Valentin Moldavsky. He got knocked out pretty bad. So I wouldn't say they're not fighting for 6 months or so. So if you know, if he wants to wait, if Fedor wants to wait, I mean, I'm down to see him fight the winner of the Ryan Bader Valentin Moldavsky fight. That'd be a great one right there. Either way, he could avenge a loss, or I don't know if he's friends with Moldavsky. If he is, he'll probably just say, "Yeah, fuck it, I'm good." I would love to see him maybe fight a legend fight. You know, some sort of I don't know who they could get, but maybe a legend fight. But I'd love to see him fight again. I love Fedor. I'm a huge old school fan, so I'm always down to see the Last Emperor fight again. All right, so let's get into some news, because there are a good amount of things in the news. A lot of things shaking up the landscape right here. All right, so let's start off with just a few fight announcements. So we have Alexander Hernandez versus Leonardo Santos. Very good. I love that fight. I love Alexander the Great. He's a great fighter. Leonardo Santos is another great fighter, so that'll be fun. Hakeem Buckley versus Abdul Razak Al Hassan. That's going to be a fun fight. Hakeem Buckley is a banger, and so is Abdul Razak most of the time. So it'll be a fun fight. A fun fight for sure. For January 15th. All right, so let's get into some news. So it wasn't this fight card, but the fight card before, where Aspen Ladd's coaches, they got a little pissy at her for not doing her job, etc. And some people were dogging them. So let's talk about it. So I'm going to skip ahead to from the first round to the second round, because the first round he was acting normal, you know, saying, hey, do this, do that, you know. First round, you know, they're not really like, you got to do this now. So we'll start from the second round, and I'll give you my interpretation of it from there.
You're throwing one shot at a time, and she's just sitting there on the outside waiting to counter you. You got to mix it up. You got to throw more than one. And you have to solid on those double jabs. And look to come underneath. She's jabbing me to death. Come underneath it. Shoot to a single. Create something. But you've got to come behind more than one. Okay? Start from the backside. Here she's going to peel that side and throw the run, but then get her on her legs and make her carry you. We've got to start making her carry. Right now she's in a sparring match that there's no time. She's not tired. That doesn't mean.
All right, that was the first round. I mean, the second round, not bad. I mean, they're urgent. They're telling her you're down 2-0, and you know, you should, as a corner, you should tell your fighter you're down 2-0. Get your ass in gear. I didn't see anything wrong with the second round. Let's see the third round. Skip a little ahead. All right, this is the third round.
You're down 3-0. Please tell me what you're doing. You have to throw more than one punch. You got to get into the fight. It's time to fight. It's the fourth round. You're down 3-0. Pick it up. Okay? Fight to win. Fight to win every second of every minute of every round. You have to finish this broad now. If you're down 3-0, you got to pick it up. That doesn't mean be careless, but lead from the backside and set the combinations up and change your levels. Continue to try to wear her down, but if you don't pick up the pace, she's going to continue to
Okay, so the third round, a little more urgent, but they're telling her exactly what she needs to hear. You're down 3 rounds to 0. You need to finish her. He's not calling her an asshole. He's not calling her a bitch. He's not calling her anything like terrible. She is getting a little emotional. You can see. Maybe he should have toned it down slightly when he saw she was getting emotional, but we're in the fight business. We're in the hurt business here. Come on. Grow some skin.
Already closed the distance. Hey, honestly, I don't know what you're doing. You close the distance and you're jumping out. Now, like how you finished. I don't know what you're waiting for. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? You have cardio through the days. Push the pace. No, you have to. You have to go balls to the wall. Caution to the wind, and you gotta go. You're down basically 4-0. You may have won that last round. Either way, you have to finish her. So I don't know what you're doing. You gotta leave every ounce of you out there. You just around for 3 rounds. Now you're down 3-1. Maybe. You gotta pick it up. You gotta let it all go. Let it go. But don't lead from this side. Throw the power shot. Sit on your that side goes double.
All right, so that was good advice too. He's not just saying fuck you, do this, do that. He's giving her sound advice, and he's telling her, look, you're down probably 4-0, maybe 3-1. You gotta finish her. Caution to the wind. Try to finish her. Lean down on your fucking punches. Stop leading from the left side. Lead with the right. He's telling her some good shit. I don't know why. So far, people are getting mad at him. Let's see Let's see his reaction after the fight. Let's see what he says. All right.
The official decision. Here's Joe Martinez.
All right, yeah. So yeah, that was it. I mean, look, I looked at all. There's nothing abusive about it. Misha Tate's like abuse. No. That's them being real. You don't know their relationship. They might even be going out, or they might have known each other for years and years and years. He's completely right. She didn't do what she was supposed to do. Okay? All she did was throw one punch. She led with the wrong hand. She didn't get out in front of her. She didn't threaten takedown. She didn't push the pace. She had cardio for days. She still had energy to do stuff. She just didn't know what to do. And they were giving her sound advice, ducking under the punches, getting clinches, throwing more than one shots. These are basic things she should have known to do. So, I mean, maybe they could have been nicer about it, but this is a main event. The coach is like, this is your time to shine. And he saw it slipping away from her, and he wanted to see his people do well. They put a lot of time and effort into this, I understand it. And it wasn't abuse. People are freaking out for no reason. I mean, I don't know if, I don't know her that well. Maybe she shouldn't be pushed that hard. But if you can't be pushed that hard by your own coach, maybe you shouldn't be in the fight game, honey. All right. So let's go to another one. Ooh, Afghan promoter, MMA fighters flee country with the help of UFC, save our allies after Taliban takeover. Some positive news. So it says that Abdul Aziz Sharifi, the truly grand fighting championship official, and several fighters made it out of Afghanistan this past Sunday, and took control after the Taliban took control. So this was this was like a few weeks ago. And they said they were already threatened by the Taliban. So then he says, so this is Sharifi. I finally fled from Afghanistan with my whole TGFC crew and their families. We are in Abu Dhabi since Sunday and waiting for our trip to the United States. Your interview and around 48 websites and TVs copied your news and broadcasted it. Helped me get out, which is awesome. I'm very thankful to you and the UFC and SaveOurAllies.org who helped tell the UFC matchmakers and Dana White about our situation. So, pretty much he's saying about 30 people, 6 women, 5 children, as well as professional fighters and coaches and officials got out, which is awesome. I'm glad about it. Wish we could have taken more out, but every life we get out of there is a life that is saved. So that's awesome. I'm happy for that. All right. Nate Diaz calls out Tony Ferguson. Conor McGregor responds. Oh, this is spicy. Very spicy. So, Tony Ferguson called out McGregor on Thursday, which prompted him to call him out on the following day. Let's see what Nick Diaz had to say on his Twitter. He just posts a picture of Tony Ferguson. Ooh, with the interim belt, and Tony Ferguson posted his gift saying, "I got you, brother." So that's fun. But let's see what Conor McGregor had to say about that one. Because to be honest, like, Conor McGregor doesn't want Nate to fight anyone else because that's his golden goose. That's what's going to be released. I mean, that's what's going to get him the extra money he needs to make his retirement, official. So he replied, this was deleted, they say, but he replied with that picture of him staring, like, like an injured lion just staring, with Joe Rogan still doing... It's like when he did the interview with Conor when he was knocked out. Yeah. Or no, the leg break. So yeah. It looks like pretty much Conor McGregor doesn't want them to fight because then he loses out. He doesn't want to fight Tony Ferguson at all. He does not want that. That won't make him a lot of money. That'll make him like $10 million. He wants to fight Nate Diaz. That'll make him like $50 million. I guarantee it. That'll make close to 2 million pay-per-view buys, very close fights. So I think that the reason he did that was because he wants, that fight for himself. But, hey, I'm down for both fights, so I'm good with any. All right, so former heavyweight champ reveals how really unprofessional UFC negotiations for his last 2 fights were. So they're talking about Junior Dos Santos. So pretty much he's saying he was released because he turned down a short notice fight, which hasn't been confirmed, but so he talked on a podcast about it. And he said at the time of the release, he still had 5 fights on his contract. He said they were very unprofessional talking about the UFC. Let's put it this way. The way they treated me, like they treat everyone else, I wasn't the first, I won't be the last. The last 2 fights I got were on those terms. You take it or you're out. So Dos Santos went on to say that happens with the UFC and these promotions. That locks up athletes, losing great possibilities to negotiate, and they do what they want. UFC has the safety to lock you into 8 fights. Now, you lose the first one, and they let you go if they want. There's no safety for the athlete. It's different in boxing. You negotiate fight after fight, contracts, and pay. My case in the UFC, for example, I fought 7 times before fighting for the belt. I was making the same amount of money stated in my contract. So he talks about the Reebok deal and how it messed up his situation. So the money I made to live came from my sponsors. The money I made in my fights, I normally spent all in my camps because I brought in people from the outside to help me and paid their costs there in Brazil with cars and a house. I gave them a good structure with my fight purse monthly. Whatever happened, the sponsorship money was in my account. It was extremely important for me. And in my case, the Reebok deal was a big hit. It put us all on the same level. Even though some fighters had contracts with Reebok or Monster, it was more of a symbolic deal and it wasn't that good. So to make extra money, he's in pro wrestling. I mean, what I have to say is, look, dude, I mean, you sign a contract and I can't, their practices aren't great, to be honest, but you're going to get paid more there probably than you would in any other fight promotion. The only other fight promotions, maybe Bellator could pay you more, but probably not. You're not like a Conor McGregor. You're not a huge earner. You're going to make maybe a little more, maybe 50, 60 grand more. And yes, you'll have sponsors, so you'll make more money that way. So if it's all about money, go to Bellator. Go somewhere else. They cut you. He seems so sour about it. Yes, they did a shitty thing by, the Reebok deal fucked a lot of people over and all that stuff. Brendan Schaub was saying he was making like 100 grand, 150 grand a year. A fight just for having the logos on his pants, So I get it. I mean, the Reebok deal, the Venom deal, that's a stupid deal. They literally should just give all the UFC fighters an equal share based on the rankings. If you're unranked, you get a certain amount of money per year. If you're top 5, you get a certain amount of money. If you're top 10, top 15, you get a certain amount of money. And it's like a monthly thing. You get a check every month for an amount, whether you fight or not. That's how it should go. But, I'm not the UFC guys. All right. U.S. government's new COVID vaccine travel policies impact international fighters. Oof, yeah, it does for sure. All right, so the new rule is that people coming from other countries must be vaccinated and they must have a COVID test as well. I mean, my policy on the vaccine is if you want it, you can get it. If you don't want it, I don't think there should be any mandates, but I'm not a politician. So the news they said are fully vaccinated travelers will also be required to show a pre-departure negative COVID test and within 3 days prior to boarding the flight, and it applies to foreign nationals crossing land borders with Mexico or arriving to the U.S. by passenger ferry. So no matter where they come from, they have to be vaccinated and they have to have a COVID test. I mean, look, I'm for the vaccine, but like I said, it should be, it should be up to you. They should have to get tested before they come for sure. Like, they should have a rapid test right then and there. Like, right before they board the plane, they should have a UFC or whoever with, in their whatever that takes the test for them. And, they should have a PCR test beforehand. That's a must. I mean, if they said they shouldn't be tested, that's bullshit. They should be tested. But, yeah. So, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. And if you don't want to do it, fight in your native country. That's the rules getting in the U.S. And they said they're going to Abu Dhabi soon because the UFC said this is not a UFC policy and it is not requiring you to get vaccinated. We are simply communicating the new guidelines as recently announced by the U.S. government. So they're saying also that they're going to go back to Abu Dhabi more because of this. So that's good for the international fighters at the very least. All right, so that's all the news for today, or this week. Let's look at the new fight cards. So there's no Bellator next week. There's no BKFC. There's no, there is the PFL championships on October 25th. But let's look at the UFC 267 one. So yeah, you have Jan Blachowicz is fighting Glover Teixeira. Nice. Peter, that's going to be a fun fight. Blachowicz is, it'll be a real test. He's fighting a real 205er because the biggest knock on his title reign, is that he hasn't fought anyone he's fought only like Dominic Reyes in his title reign that was a real 205er. He fought Izzy, who was a 185er. He fought, what's his name? He fought, I think that was it, Izzy. And yeah. So, that's going to be a fun fight. It'll show if he's really into it. So then we had Peter Yan versus Corey Sandhagen. That's going to be a good one. And for the interim title fight, which is probably the real title, to be honest. Islam Makhachev versus Dan Hooker. That's going to be a good one. Dan Hooker said he wants 5 rounds, but they're not going to do that probably because they'll have to pay him more. Alexander Volkov, nice, versus Marcin Tybura. That's going to be a fun fight. Alexander's going to use that range. It's going to keep him at bay. And Marcin Tybura is going to have to try to get in and take him down, beat him up on the inside. And we have Li Jingliang versus Khamzat Chimaev. That's going to be fun. Been waiting for Chimaev to come back, man. He came in like a hurricane in 2019, and then he got COVID, took the year off. And we got Magmed Ankalaev versus Volkan Ozdemir. That's a good contender for, I know they're low. They're not well ranked. I think they're in the lower, like, top 15, but those are some good guys. They might be in the top 10 because Ozdemir did fight Jiri, and Ozdemir was like number 3 or something because Jiri got a huge bump up. So it's probably top 5 to top 10. Yeah. So we got Amanda Ribas. Ooh, nice. I love her. Don't know this one. Verna. I do. Yeah. I do know Verna. Ricardo Ramos versus Zubari Tugoyev. Don't know him. Got some other people. Roman Kopylov. I remember Roman. He fought before. Yeah, we got some good ones. A lot of unknowns. We got Magomed Mustafayev. I've seen fight. We've got Markwan Amirkhani. Yeah, that's a good fighter too. Overall, decent fight card next week. It's free. It's on ESPN Plus, and we also have a welterweight bout. Eliseo Zaleski dos Santos versus Benoit Saint Denis. So it's gonna be a fun fight. It'll be enjoyable. So yeah, thank you so much for watching the MMA Degenerates. Do me a big favor, smash that like button, uppercut that subscribe button, head kick that bell icon so you know when we drop our stuff. And have a great day and stay safe, everyone.